quarter, the Eagles up 7-0 on a Shannon Mayer touchdown run just moments ago. Eagles just got the ball back after a punt from their opponent today, the Ben Franklin Electrons from Philadelphia. And now Shannon Mayer hands it off, and Sheldon Mayer picks up about 5 on the play. Well, on that last drive, the Electrons offense really showed next to nothing. And the Eagles defense, who came out so strong last week in the first half, appear to be doing the same thing here tonight. Hopefully this time they'll be able to keep it up, though, throughout the entire game. The Electrons, led by their quarterback, Kareem Harris, and their running back, Marquise Walker. Walker with 3 touchdowns last week in the 42-6 win. Mayer on the call, tries to get to the outside and is brought down by Walker and a number of other white jerseys. And of course the Eagles last week at that 32-24 opening win. Definitely important to start out the season with a win. And a lot of expectations from this year, as we talked about in our last broadcast, with Shannon Mayer looking really good, Sheldon Mayer, of course, just being himself, Aunt Roby, all the other weapons that they have. They'll line it up in an I form with 2 wide receivers far side. They hand it off to Tracy Presley from the fullback position, and he's got the first down and about 5 more yards. Well, Sheldon Mayer will get a breather, and Shippen will come into the game for the first time. The Eagles once again come out in an I formation with 2 wide receivers near side this time. They hand it off to Shippen. Shippen with a hard-earned 6 or 7. Well, a rare morning/early afternoon game here at Roosevelt. The 11 a.m. start. And we got overcast. It looks like it could start raining at any moment. And fan turnout, certainly not what it was last week. Ikeem Boyd into the game at wide receiver, giving Aunt Roby a rest. Here's Mayer looking to throw, and he had it go through the hands of Milo Hill. It was a little bit short of him, and he could not make the catch on the dive. Sheldon Mayer will return to the game. With Sheldon Mayer last week, just shy of 100 yards rushing. With 94, and of course 82 yards receiving all in one play, where he essentially put the game away on an 82-yard catch and run late in the 4th. Mayer hands it off to Presley, and he'll rumble ahead and get the first down. He looks good in those short yardage situations. I'll just hand him the ball, let him pick up the first. And that's such an important thing to have. And, of course, we talked last week about the importance of that fullback position. And Presley looks great. So the ball's at the 50. Eagles trying to get into Electrons territory. Shannon Mayer surveying the defense. Hands it off to Sheldon. Sheldon's got the first down. Almost a great move to make a mad miss, but still the impressive gain of about a dozen. So they'll be at the 38 now, threatening to make this a 2-score game. Eagles in that same formation they've been using the entire drive and game. And they hand it off to Mayer, and he's stopped in the backfield. He'll lose about 3. And I don't know what went wrong on that play. I guess just a little bit of confusion, missed assignments, blocking up front. They've been good today, the offensive line, and the blocking for Sheldon Mayer, but on that play, of course, not getting it done. So it'll be 2nd and 13 for the Eagles, who lead it 7-0. Hand it off to Mayer. And he is tripped up back at the original line of scrimmage at about the 38, and it'll be 3rd and 10. They'll call it 3rd and 11, and with 1:05 to go in the first quarter, it's the Eagles 7 and the Benjamin Franklin Electrons 0. Flags before the snap. Let's see what this is. The referees meet at the 40-yard line discussing what this flag is all about. And it'll be against Benjamin Franklin. So here we go, 3rd and long for the Eagles. Mayer slips, and he went down to a knee, so he is, by rule, down right there, even though he was able to get back up before a Benjamin Franklin defender touched him. And I guess that's just a product of the conditions, because it rained here all day last night. I mean, the field's not in great condition to begin with. Throwing a little rain, and gonna see stuff like that, I guess. Just an unfortunate break there for the Eagles. Now they have to punt it away. So 4th and 20, an obvious punt situation, and Taylor Hillenbrand is back deep to kick it away. Hillenbrand puts it down to about the 10. It'll roll past all the way down to the 2-yard line and be downed there by Shippen. Absolutely beautiful by Hillenbrand and the coverage team. And as a result, Benjamin Franklin has 98 yards to go of field ahead of them. 1st and 10. Now Benjamin Franklin has to be careful right here, just to not have a safety scored against them. Got to get some breathing room, and then they still are going to have a long field to go in front of them. They'll end up in that short shotgun that they've been using and hand it off on a sweep. Well drawn up, and they pick up about 4 and a little bit of breathing room. So it'll be 2nd and about 6. And with that, the first quarter has expired. The Eagles have the early 7-0 lead. I'm Mark Hodinsky. You're watching NASD TV. And the teams will switch sides and resume action shortly. Third and about 2. Benjamin Franklin coming out with 3 wide receivers. And they hand it off to Walker once again. Goes back outside, and he'll lose about 7. An ugly play from the start. Marquise Walker added insult to injury by trying to make something out of it and ending up going backwards. So that'll make it 4th and about 7. And the Electrons will have to punt. Ant Dinolfi's back deep. He was outstanding last week, scored on a kick return, and helped out in so many other ways too. And that ball is down at about the 25. So the Eagles have outstanding field position to begin this drive. The Eagles still in that I formation, with Akeem Boyd and Milo Hill on opposite sides as wide receivers. Mayer and Presley in the backfield, and Mayer gets the toss. Bounces it outside, and he's got the first down and more. And wow, it looked like he was going to be stopped after a gain of about 4 or 5, but somehow had a burst to the corner and turned it into that, a gain of about 14. Make it more right now. Mayer hands off to Presley, and he picks up about 6 or 7. Shannon Mayer comes back into the huddle to give his offense the play. And of course, we mentioned how impressive he was last week, and of course, we saw him last year, too, as a freshman in relief of James Ramsey, who was fighting some injury problems. And he looked good then, too, but now just a little bit more refined, better decision-making, a little bit smarter. Here's Mayer up the middle, and not much there. Somehow he turns it into a gain of about 3 or 4, and the Eagles will be close to a first down. So it'll be 3rd and 2. The Eagles have used Tracy Presley very successfully in earlier situations like this. Let's see what they do here. Just one wide receiver. That's Ant Roby. They give it to Mayer. He's got the first down. He's got the touchdown. And it's 13-0 Eagles. A touchdown run by Shannon Mayer and a touchdown run by Sheldon Mayer. And let's see if Fox can add the extra point to make it a 14-point game. Eagles had serious problems in their kicking game last week. But so far today, 1 for 1 on extra points for Mr. Fox. Taylor Hillenbrand, his holder. Low snap, and he has to pick it up. Tries to run it in and can't do it. I don't believe that was a design fake, although it could have been. But it looked like just a low snap, and Taylor Hillenbrand probably had time to set it up and get it off, but I guess he didn't consider that to be the case and decided to try to do it himself. So more problems in the kicking game, and the Eagles lead at 13-0. Marcus Stewart, the kickoff specialist, ready to boot it away. Let's see how the Eagles' kick coverage can contain Benjamin Franklin, because they also had a couple problems last week, although they improved throughout the game. The low line drive kickoff, and it's going to go out of bounds. So great field position for Benjamin Franklin, but their offense has looked anemic so far, so the Eagles hope that it won't matter. Once again, 13-0 Eagles. We got 9:24 to go before half, and now they're calling a false start on the Eagles on that kickoff. So that'll move it to the 35 instead of the 40. Still, outstanding field position for Benjamin Franklin. First and 10. Benjamin Franklin has been using that short shotgun formation all game. Now send a man in motion, fake the sweep, and Kareem Harris will try to run it himself. Oh, and a great defensive play there by Akeem Boyd, who just tracked Harris down as he was trying to move outside and made a great open field tackle on a very elusive runner. So it'll be 2nd and 9 after a gain of 1. Harris, like Mayer, very dangerous with his feet as well as his arm. Eagles stack the box with defenders, and here is Walker. And he'll pick up about 6 or 7, and it'll be 3rd and short. So it'll be 3rd and 3 officially. We have just under 9 minutes to go before halftime. The Eagles looking strong as they did last week at this time. Give it off to Walker, and he's spilled in the backfield. Roby and Golston were both there on the play. And they don't pick up the 3 yards they needed, so it'll be 4th and 3. And it looks like Benjamin Franklin will go for it. Not really a surprise there. And now the punt team does start to come on, so I guess Benjamin Franklin changing their minds. Now Anthony D'Onofrio will go back deep to return a punt. They just get it off out beyond the outstretched arm of Anthony Roby. D'Onofrio with a hesitation move. And he picks up about 6 or 7. And nice little return there. Took what he could get. And the Eagles will set up the offense up already by 13. And I'll tell you, if the Eagles could put a couple more drives together, this one could have, this could have the makings of a blowout for the Eagles. They definitely feel that their talent is superior to that of Ben Franklin. So, and they've certainly showed it so far, especially when they've been out there on defense. So let's see if they can continue. And the defense has just set up the offense so well with field position and everything else. Ball at their own 29. Mayer with 2 wide receivers and 2 in the backfield. Hands it off to Sheldon Mayer. And Sheldon Mayer takes it up to about the 33, a gain of 4. We'll give him 5 officially, so we'll have 2nd and 5. Roby and Hill, the wide receivers this time. Mayer surveying the defense and now handing off to Tracy Presley from the fullback spot. And he comes up about a yard shy of the first down marker, 3rd and 1. And will they give it to him again? And in fact, they'll give him a first down, so it won't be an issue on Tracy Presley able to get that ball out beyond the marker. Once again, Hill and Roby, the wide receivers, both to the near side. Mayer hands off to Sheldon Mayer. And he's got about 10 and another first down, and the Eagles continue to move the ball without any real problems. A Benjamin Franklin player a little bit slow to get up, but he is now up. And we'll call a timeout for him. He is allowed to stay in the game because the trainers did not come out, and they used the timeout as well. So, and now he's going to walk off. It's number 71 for Benjamin Franklin. A little bit shaken up. Meanwhile, the Eagles have another fresh set of downs with 6 minutes and change to go before we reach halftime. Eagles defense pitching a shutout here early on. And they got the ball right at the 50. Brandon Shippen in the game, replacing Sheldon Mayer for the time being. He gets the handoff. There is a flag, and he picks up about 2. That flag likely a hold, though, on the Eagles. That's what it is, so they will move the ball back. So it'll be 1st and long, and that could be a drive killer for the Eagles, but they hope not. They've been moving the ball well enough that hopefully they could overcome it, but certainly not something they needed. First and 20. Eagles still in that I form they've been in all game. They toss it to Sheldon Mayer. Makes the first man miss. Now tries to cut it back. Goes inside. And turns what looked like was going to be a loss of a couple into a gain of about 5. That's what Sheldon does. I mean, he's as fast as anyone, but I mean, what really sets Sheldon apart is his quickness, his agility. I mean, his change of direction, speed, and his acceleration are just second to none. And you saw it right there, a perfect example of it, making guys miss, cutting on a dime, doing all that stuff. Mayer with the quick pass to Roby, and it was out in front of him. And he couldn't make the one-armed catch. So they try to run Roby on a short route, and of course we all know about Roby's amazing speed. Ran the 40-yard dash in 4.35. Got a scholarship for Temple, where he will play cornerback next season. And they're trying to find ways to use him, and I guess that was one of their methods. But obviously didn't work there. Third and 15. 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Ugly day here at Roosevelt Field. It has started to rain again. Very lightly. Mayer gets it out to Presley on a little bit of a screen. He finds the seam. Powering ahead near the first down marker. He was stopped about 5 yards short, then tried to power his way there, but only got about 2 yards short. So it'll be 4th and 2. Do the Eagles have enough faith in their offense so far today to go for this? It looks like they will. So 4th and about 2.5, and the Eagles going for it. Only Sheldon Mayer in the backfield. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Sheldon Mayer gets the handoff, and he's spilled after a gain of about 1, and it does not look like he will have it. Number 77 for Benjamin Franklin on the tackle. And he just got tripped up and could not maintain his balance. And he came up just about a yard short there. A good second effort after he began to lose his balance, but not enough. So the Benjamin Franklin offense will go back to work. They've gotten nothing today. They set up a little wide receiver screen, and a great hit by Derek Williams to prevent him from gaining anything. But now another Benjamin Franklin injury, this time number 75. And the trainers will have to come out and take a look. So this is NASD TV, Boys Varsity Football. I'm Mark Holodinsky bringing you the action. And once again, the Eagles lead it 13-0. Sheldon Mayer and Shannon Mayer have had a touchdown run apiece. And the Eagles 1 for 2 on their extra point attempts. The third one, thanks to a low snap. So they're taking a look, I guess, at the legs of number 75. And all the players, Eagles and Benjamin Franklin, on the knee, wishing the best. He's been down for a while now. And I mean, whoever you root for, you just hope that this kid's all right. Of course, they want to take any preventative measure they can. So hopefully that's all this is. And he gets up on his own, and he'll trot off looking to be healthy. So we pick up the action. It's 2nd and 7 for Benjamin Franklin. Ball at their own 45. They run the clock. 3 minutes, 40 seconds to go and running in the second quarter. They hand it off to Walker. And Walker is brought down right at the first down marker. Appears to have it. And they will move the chains. Well, Benjamin Franklin trying to get into halftime on a positive note. There's been very few bright spots in the first half for them, but if they could get a touchdown here in this last drive, they could be down just 6 points going into halftime, even with all the struggles they've been having. They hand it off to Walker. There's a flag, and brought down in the backfield is Walker, but we'll have to check on the marker. The referee is discussing it. I guess a false start or an illegal formation of some type by Benjamin Franklin. Eagles decline it, though. They'd rather have it 2nd and 10. Perhaps a slightly unconventional decision by the Eagles, but certainly not a bad one. Second and 10. Ball in Eagles territory now at about the 47. They hand it off to Walker. And Golston forces him outside, slows him down, and Williams and Smith are able to finish it off to make it 3rd and about 8 after the gain of 2. Now inside of 2 minutes to go in the half. Eagles trying to come up with a big stop right here. They hand it off to Walker, and he will not get enough as they stop him at about the 42, and the Electrons will be faced with the decision to go for it or to punt here. And they'll call a timeout to figure it out. And we'll stop the clock at 1:26. That's how long we have before our halftime break. And it sure looks like Benjamin Franklin's going to go for it. And of course, if you punt from here, you're a little close, a little deep in your opponent's territory for a punt. It obviously waits you far out for a field goal. So it makes some sense to go for it here, especially with only having 4 yards to go. Let's see if that's indeed what they do. $13-0 Eagles on NASD TV on a Saturday morning. So the Electrons line up to go for it on 4th and 4. Harris rolling out, throws, and it's over the head of his man, and they call a flag for pass interference. There was no way he was going to catch that ball, but a little bit of contact, and they end up throwing the flag. And if that is indeed what this is, it'll be a first down for the Electrons. That is indeed what it is, of course. First down, Electrons, and that's a big play and an unfortunate break for the Eagles. I mean, that was into double coverage and not exactly a great throw, and certainly didn't need to take that penalty. It's not a spot foul, though, in high school football, but still. Major thing is that the Electrons got the first down, and now they'll have the ball at about the 26 or 27. They toss it to Walker, and he goes all the way out to the sideline, but without picking up a yard. In fact, may have lost a couple. Sheldon Mayer credited with a tackle. Second and 12. Time, serious factor now. Just 45 seconds to go. Harris drops back to throw, and it's over the head of his intended target. So the Benjamin Franklin offense, which has been pretty terrible throughout the first half, gets a huge break on this drive on the Eagles' penalty. Now they have a chance to cut the lead in half with a couple more yards. Harris back to throw again. Huge pass rush, and number 80 for the Eagles able to get in there and create that incompletion, and it'll be fourth down. Fourth and 12, and the offense still out there for Benjamin Franklin. Ball at the 29. And with just a half a minute to go, even if they fail here, the Eagles don't have too much of a chance of covering 80 yards in 30 seconds. Harris drops back, bombs it up into coverage, and it's incomplete. So they take a shot, doesn't work for them. And with 25 seconds to go, the Eagles very well may just run out this clock. And if the Eagles do decide to just run at the clock, they could go into the locker room feeling very good about their lead and about how the way they've played, mainly their defense. And but last week, they took some shots until they absolutely didn't need to. But this situation, probably smart to just call it a half, and that's a false start. Or was he drawn off by the defense? Indeed, a false start. Likely not a very meaningful penalty, though. So the Eagles at about the 24 with 25 seconds to go. They do come out with 4 wide receivers, however. Sheldon Mayer, one of them. Let's see what they do. They'll just hand it off to Presley. And he gets 1 or 2. And that, well, the Eagles will call a timeout. So they run it with 24 seconds to go as if to wind some clock and do nothing else. But now they call a timeout as if trying to take another shot before the half. So not sure which it'll be. With the speed of Roby and Sheldon Mayer and the strong arm of Shannon Mayer, I mean, it might be worth taking a shot, but at the same rate, there's really no reason to, put a taint on what they've done in the first half by throwing an interception and having it run back or anything like that. Mayer is in the shotgun with 4 wide receivers. He drops back to throw. They're going to take a shot. They go to Roby, and it's almost intercepted. And we've now got 8 seconds before halftime. Gotta admire the aggressiveness of the Eagles, though, trying to throw the deep ball there. See how they line up this time. It'll tell us a lot about what they're going to do. They're going to line up once again. Shotgun 4 wide, so look for another throw downfield. Mayer drops back. Bombs it near sideline for Sheldon Mayer, and it's too short, and they throw a flag for pass interference. Number 86 on the coverage hit him a little bit early. We've got 1 second left on the clock. Of course, even if it read 0, Eagles would still get to run a play because of the defensive penalty. The officials will converse, but this looks like it's going to be a pass interference. So that allowed the Eagles to take yet one last shot with way better field position. Once again, 4 wide receivers. Evan Battaglia, the tight end, one of them. They'll try to go deep to him. He stopped and then started again, and had he not hesitated like that, perhaps could have had that catch, but as it is, that'll end the first half. Touchdown runs by each of the Mayer brothers for the Eagles. An outstanding defensive play. And the Eagles have a 13-0 lead. We will be right back after a short halftime intermission. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. You're watching NASD TV. I'm Mark Hodinsky, bringing you boys varsity football. Today, your hometown Eagles, with their second home game in as many weeks, hosting the Benjamin Franklin Electrons and off to a 13-0 lead. But perhaps it should be a little bit more as the captains have their exchange at midfield before the half. The way their defense played, it's no surprise that Benjamin Franklin has been shut out thus far. But a couple little penalties messed up the Eagles' offense, and 13 points, not a bad outing for a half, but the way the defense has set them up for field position and everything, I'd say Benjamin Franklin has had some fortunate breaks to be still in this. This game being featured on Varsity365.com, my high school sports Philadelphia area website. So check that out if you get a chance, Varsity365.com. And Marcus Stewart, the kickoff specialist, ready to kick this one off. Of course, this game kicked off at 11 o'clock. The Eagles have one other game at 1 p.m. on a Saturday, but all the rest of them are night games, so a rarity here today, and a pretty ugly day to go along with it. Nothing but clouds in the sky. A little bit of rain came down earlier and still could come down before this one's through. Kickoff's fielded by number 22. He gets to the 30. He gets to the 35 after breaking a tackle and is finally forced out of bounds. And not a real deep kick and a pretty solid return, and Benjamin Franklin has all right field position. They threatened at the end of the half, aided by a Norristown pass interference penalty. Other than that, they haven't really even threatened. So once again, 13-0 Eagles. And the Electrons begin the half with possession of the football. Harris takes the short shotgun snap and hands it off to number 34. And he picks up about 9 or 10. It's Marquise Walker. Of course, Marquise Walker with the 3 touchdowns last week. He's their biggest offensive weapon. Harris takes a snap, hands off once again to Walker. Trying to find a hole, picks up the first down, and ends up with a gain of about 5. And the Eagles, we know, have used the I formation for pretty much the entirety of the game, minus a couple plays at the end of the half in pure passing situations. And meanwhile, the Electrons have gone with that short little shotgun pretty much all game. An interesting look. And they've like to use motion with their wide receivers, try and run some sweeps, give the defense some different looks. So far, none of it's worked, though, as the Electrons have yet to score their first point. Hand off once again to Walker. He stumbles his way up to the 40-yard line of the Eagles. Gain of about 5. We've played just a minute and a half in the half. The Electrons, for the first time today, really moving the ball well. Mainly behind the strength of number 34, their star running back. Once again, they give it to him, and he will come up about a couple inches shy of the first down. There's even a chance they could give it to him. We'll see. And they'll call it 3rd and short. Big play, but I think if they miss this and don't lose too much, they will go for it. So think of this as a 2-down situation. They run it with Walker, and it won't matter because he's going to have it here on 3rd down. And we'll get all the way down to the 30. And it's a little bit reminiscent of last week for the Eagles. That was their opener last Friday against Northeast, where their defense was just outstanding in the first half. And then in the second half, they come out and teams have made adjustments. And I don't know what happens to this team, but it seems like once they come out of that locker room, they're just vulnerable. Here's Harris running around back there and then gunning it up. Almost a circus catch, but that one was just thrown into coverage and would have taken an amazing catch just to get a gain of 10 or 15. That'll bring up 2nd and 10. Getting this stop for the Eagles would be huge. The Electrons' kicking game is virtually non-existent, so they've really got to punch this all the way into the end zone if they want to score. Harris hands off to Walker. Tries to bounce it outside, and Golston brings him down from behind. It's a short gain. So that'll bring up 3rd at about 7. Of course, as we've mentioned in the first half, each of the Mayors have a touchdown run in this game. That would be Shannon, the quarterback, and Sheldon, the running back. The Eagles really haven't gotten much of a passing attack going, but they really haven't needed it with the way they're playing defense and running the ball. Those two things right there are a recipe for success. They get the little short dump off, and number 86 is right near the first down marker. This will be close as to whether or not he got it. Subpar fan turnout here at Roosevelt, but not surprising with the early start time, the ugly weather, among other things. Here's Harris once again in that short shotgun formation. Hands off to Walker, and he runs into a blue wall. That's the Eagles' defensive line. And the Electrons still on that first drive of the half. It's consumed 5 minutes of the clock. And they've moved the ball a good 60, 70 yards. So the great defensive stand by the Eagles ends that long drive, and the offense takes over. They hand it off to Presley. He breaks through, and he could be gone. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. Doesn't have blazing speed, but does he have enough? He does. Touchdown, Tracy Presley. A 70-plus yard scamper by the fullback, Tracy Presley. But it just shows you how many weapons this Eagles team has when they could put a guy at fullback who could break off a 75-yard scamper like he just did. I mean, he had some defenders on his heels gaining ground on him, but just enough speed by Mr. Presley to get into the end zone. And boy, what a turn of events. The Eagles with that great play on 4th and short to get the stop, get the ball back, and then bang, just like that. One play gets them all the way to the house. And now Jared Fox tries to add the extra point. The kick is up. It's no good. Fox shanked it off to the left, and the Eagles' kicking game continues to endure some serious struggles. I mean, I know in high school football, the kicking game is not normally a strength, but I mean, it's just been a struggle for the Eagles. Dismal. Fox, the junior kicker, but it's certainly unfair to put it all on him. I mean, with the way, you got to work as a unit with that field goal team, the line, the long snapper, the holder, all equally important. But not to take anything away from that outstanding touchdown run by Tracy Presley, and the Eagles now lead at 19-0. Well, again, this Benjamin Franklin team won 42-6 last week, but it was not against the strongest of opponents. And, of course, the Eagles go into this game as the decided favorites, but they've answered the pressure so far and are looking to go off to a 2-0 start. Got a long way to go in this game, but so far so good. So it's fielded by number 21 and up to 16. Blocker goes down in front of him, and that essentially ends the return. The Electrons really only even threatened to score twice, one on that last drive and one on the drive right before halftime. So it happens to be their last two drives. So you wonder if they might be starting to gain any momentum, but they're going to have to pick up the pace. Getting the ball to the 20 and turning it over is just not going to get it done. The Eagles' red zone defense getting it done. Bending but not breaking. Of course, throughout the first quarter and a little bit of the second, they didn't even bend. Harris takes a snap, tosses it to Walker. There's a flag. And Walker is wrapped up after a gain of about 2. And now we have to check on the penalty marker. I believe this one's against Benjamin Franklin. The officials conversing. And it is against Benjamin Franklin, so they'll back up a couple of yards. First and 13. As that one is called 5 yards from the end of the run. Actually, now they'll back it up even further. The scoreboard was incorrect. It's actually first and 15. Three wide receivers for the Electrons, and of course, 3 corners in the nickel defense for the Eagles. Walker wriggles away from a couple of tackles, but ends up with only about a yard or 2. And another Benjamin Franklin injury. It's number 34, Marquise Walker, their star and starting running back. So this could be an interesting development. Without him, I mean, their offense, I guess you could say, just goes from bad to worse. But we'll see how serious it is. They're going to want to get him back in the game as soon as possible, but at the same time, they can't risk any long-term problems for him. Well, last week, a number of Eagles went down. They're having a lot of problems with cramping up, among other things. And they had 5 or 6 players sustain minor injuries. And now today, this is the 3rd Benjamin Franklin Electron to hit the turf in pain. But Walker walks to the sideline, and he'll have to take at least a play off because the trainers came out and delayed the game. But we'll keep an eye on him, see if he can come right back out or if they're going to have to take a closer look. He's got his helmet off over there on the sideline talking to some staff member of Benjamin Franklin. Definitely a situation to keep an eye on. Here's Harris. Has it possibly deflected at the line, I'm not sure. Either way, Larry Smith obstructing the vision of Harris, and the pass is incomplete. That'll make it 3rd and 12. Evander Barkley scored a touchdown last week, and he's the number 2 running back for the Benjamin Franklin Electrons. They screen it for Barkley. They need 12 yards to go, and they only get about 5 or 6. And this looks like it's probably too long to go for, so I anticipate a punt. Although the Electrons are in some trouble on the scoreboard, down 19-0 with just about 17 minutes to go in the fourth and third quarters combined. But the Benjamin Franklin Electrons will indeed be punting. Denolfi and Mayer both back. Two extremely dangerous weapons, and we'll see how they decide to use them. As we mentioned earlier, Denolfi already has a return touchdown on the year. The punt goes straight up in the air. It's very short. Bounces, and Denolfi very wisely just jogs away from it. And it works out not too bad for the Electrons considering. And the Eagles will take the ball at their own 30. Not too great of a punt. Fortunate bounce. And the Eagles smart there to not try to do anything too much. That's something that we saw last week too. Just smart play all around pretty much. Last year some mental mistakes that cost games, but so far this year we haven't seen it. First and 10. 4 minutes and 53 seconds to go in the third quarter. Shannon Mayer drops back to throw. He's going deep. He wants Milo Hill, and it's just over his head. Boy, you got to admire the Eagles going down the field, though. Shannon Mayer just has looked outstanding in the first game and a half. He's got quite an arm on him. And, of course, we know about the mobility and the athleticism. So it'll be second and 10. And of course, with all the speed the Eagles have at the skill positions with Mayer, Roby, Denolfi, Hill, they could definitely take some shots down the field. Here's Mayer on the handoff. Getting outside. He's got the first down. He's past midfield. He's at the 40, and he's finally knocked out of bounds at about the 42. So he came up, or actually went out of bounds, just shy of the Electrons' 40, and the Eagles are in business once again. Boy, Sheldon Mayer just so dangerous when he gets to the outside. And now there's, the players go down to their knees. As another Electron comes up a little bit gimpy. Looks like the Electrons are having some serious problems with these little injury things. Meanwhile, Anthony Roby stretching out Sheldon Mayer on the field. Sheldon Mayer might be a little bit tight. Trainer Dennis Flynn has a word with him, but he looks to be perfectly fine, just trying to stay loose any way possible. He had some problems with cramps last week, as we said. Had to come in and out of the game at several points. And Mayer now stretching out the hamstring of Aaron Roby, but the Eagles have to. It's really important to stay healthy because no matter how talented you are, that could derail anyone's season. And number 68 limping off, going off into his own power, but I guess it's his right leg that's having some problems, and I don't think we'll see any more of him today. Now they'll come out to help him off. So for the first time today, the injured Electron can't walk off into his own power, and of course, Eagles fans and Electrons fans alike, we wish him the best. First and 10, 4:41 to go in the third quarter. I'm Mark Howdensky. You're watching NASD TV, boys varsity football. Benjamin Franklin at Norristown. Here's Mayer rolling out to his left, throwing deep to a wide open Anthony Roby. Oh, and he dropped it. Oh, no. Anthony Roby was wide open, passed to the defense for whatever reason. And Mayer recognized him a little bit late, perhaps, and was unable to lead him, but he was so wide open that he didn't even need to be led. And the ball just floated right down into his arms, and he couldn't corral it. Man, missed opportunity for the Eagles, to be sure. Wow, that would have been a touchdown for sure. Now here's Mayer to the outside. Gets a great block from wide receiver Milo Hill. Too much speed to the outside. Touchdown, Sheldon Mayer. Wow. So the Eagles come right back after that ugly drop. And Sheldon Mayer picks up his teammate Anthony Roby, who makes a rare mistake. And, wow, he just beat everybody with his speed there. Just flat-out speed to the outside. And he got a great block from Milo Hill, among other Eagles. And now the adventure that is the Eagles kicking game is about to make its 4th appearance today. Sheldon Mayer with his 2nd touchdown on the day. Here's Fox, puts it up, puts it through, and the Eagles now lead it 26-0, leading more than comfortably at this point. Any little slight holes that in the defense at the very beginning of the 3rd quarter or very end of the 1st half, certainly forgotten at this point. I mean, even on those drives, I mean, just because the Electrons were able to get deep into Eagles territory for 2 of the rare times this game, I mean, for that to be considered 2 of their worst drives defensively, says a lot about what they've done. So Tracy Presley with the long touchdown run earlier in the half, and now the 2nd score of the quarter is Sheldon Mayer. Marcus Stewart set to kick it off. 4 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. The Eagles in complete control. Let's see how long this defense can keep this shutout going. I mean, it certainly looks realistic that they could hold the Electrons scoreless for the entirety of the game. A good tackle by Boyd at the 26, so Keem Boyd with the great special teams play, and the Electrons will take over with mediocre field position at the 26. There's a penalty flag, and it's holding against the Electrons, so their mediocre field position turns into pretty bad field position. And they will back it up to the 16, I believe. 10-yard penalty for holding. Of course, both teams 1-0, but the Eagles in great shape to go 2-0. They got Central Bucks South coming up next week. And the Benjamin Franklin offense will set up now at the 16. Marquise Walker's back in the game in the backfield. He gets the call. Running to the outside. Certainly doesn't have speed like Sheldon Mayer, but an effective run there. And I guess they're going to call a late hit out of bounds as a late flag comes in. Marquise Walker was going to the outside, just kind of jogged out of bounds with running out of space, and I guess they deemed that a late hit. It's a tough call. Personal foul against the Eagles, so that'll cost them, I believe, 15. So that's going to move the ball all the way up to the 40 of the Electrons. They hand it off to Walker. He's got no room, picks up about 1. They've held Marquise Walker in check, something that Benjamin Franklin's opponent last week had a world of trouble doing as they let him go off for 3 touchdowns. It's hard to imagine this Benjamin Franklin team scoring 42 points on someone, which is what they did last week. Just a testament to how good of defense the Eagles have played. And now with 2 touchdowns here in the third quarter, the offense has gone from good to great in this game. That one's knocked down at the line. Number 78, batting it back down in the face of Kareem Harris, the quarterback. (26-0) Eagles, 3 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the third quarter. Touchdowns by Shannon Mayer, 2 by Sheldon Mayer, and 1 by Tracy Presley. Marquise Walker beside Kareem Harris in the short shotgun. Of course, he went out with that injury, but has since returned. That 3rd and 7 play only gets him about 3, so they're definitely in a gray area now of whether to punt or whether to go for it. With their deficit, I think you have to go for it. Down 26-0 with just 15 minutes to go in the game. But they're going to punt. Well, they don't have a whole heck of a lot of time to make up this huge deficit, but I guess they're have faith in their defense and offense to get them back in because they're not going to go for it here. Low snap, short punt, very ugly play all around, and the Eagles will just let it roll. And the Eagles will get the ball at about the 23. Well, at this point, they should be concerned with trying to chew up some clock, not giving up their aggressiveness, though. I mean, you could use another touchdown or 2, put this game away. But the clock is definitely a factor now. I mean, we'll see. You got 15 minutes left, and the Electrons need 4 touchdowns. So they need a touchdown pretty much every 4 minutes. And as you run down the clock, that ratio becomes even more tough to overcome for the Electrons. Shannon there, hands off to Sheldon, runs to the outside. And he'll go out of bounds, so that'll stop the clock, but a nice pickup by Mr. Mayer. Second and 4, we got a timeout on the field. Benjamin Franklin spends one of theirs. And the Eagles clicking on all cylinders here today. There's not too many things they could be doing better. I mean, a couple mistakes here and there, some ugly extra points. That drop by Roby. I mean, the passing game hasn't been all that effective. But they really haven't needed it with the way they've been running the ball. I mean, there's really not too many things they could be doing better. The defense is making Marquise Walker look like a third stringer. I mean, this guy's a very talented runner, but I mean, with the way the Eagles defense has been playing, they've shut him down. They've shut down Kareem Harris. They've shut down all aspects of the Benjamin Franklin offense. Shannon Mayer hands off to Presley. He's going to lose one maybe. He was met immediately after taking the handoff. Third and 4, 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. 26-0 Eagles. Eagles will come up to the line with Boyd and Hill, the wide receivers. Mayer and Presley in the backfield. Battaglia, the tight end, their usual formation. Here's Mayer. Fake play action to Mayer. You get it to Battaglia, short. And he'll pick up a nice gain after the catch, and he tiptoes the sideline. Still on his feet, shaking off a tackle. Evan Battaglia rumbles all the way to the house. Oh, Evan Battaglia breaking one off now. First, it's Presley, the fullback. Now it's Battaglia, the tight end, with long 60-plus yard touchdowns. And I mean, you can't just shove this guy out of bounds. He's just going to absorb it. I mean, he's got to be one of the strongest guys on this Eagles team. He could easily be an offensive lineman and a dominant one at that. But they like his skills receiving and his skills with the ball. And there's an absolutely outstanding example of it. And, boy, for a big guy, some excellent footwork. Tiptoeing that sideline. And Evan Battaglia has his first touchdown of the year. They said they're going to get the tight end involved this year, the Eagles coaches did. And this is really the first time we're seeing it, and I don't think they expected that play to get him all the way into the end zone. And Fox adds the extra point. 34-0. And with 1:14 to go in the third quarter, the Eagles pretty much have this one in the bag. Boy, just everything working for him. I mean, you throw a 5-yard pattern to your 220-pound tight end. I mean, are you expecting to score a touchdown on that? Hand off to your fullback at the 30-yard line, your own 30-yard line. They score a touchdown off of that somehow. Benjamin Franklin clearly has a lot of work to do. Lucas Stewart boots it away. It's fielded by number 21 at the 10-yard line. And we're going to have a flag on the play. Looks like it's going to be an illegal block in the back on the electrons. And a solid return, but the penalty will erase it. Well, the few fans that are in the stands here today celebrating this one as the Eagles lead at 33-0. There was actually an error on the score, but it was not 34. And the Electrons will start at their own 15. Terrible field position. I mean, all you have to do is look at the average starting field position of these teams. I mean, the Eagles, it hasn't been great, but it's been really solid, and it's given their offense a chance, and they've taken that chance and ran with it quite literally. And the Electrons, it seems like every time they're getting penalized on kickoffs and starting inside their own 20. With the way their offense has performed, I mean, if they're starting inside their own 30, they're in trouble. Minute 11 to go in the third quarter. Eagles just trying to get this game through. 5 wide receivers for the Electrons, nobody in the backfield. Harris Throws it over the middle, and it's dropped by number 88. Justin DeVell, the talented tight end. So the Electrons are going to have to throw the ball. They're going to have to throw the ball down the field. If they want to come back in this one, they're not going to be able to rely on Marquise Walker because they have 33 points to make up in about 13 minutes. Once again, 5 wide receivers. Harris with a quick screen over to Walker, and he dropped it. That's a fumble behind the line, and he bounces back on it, but the Electrons backed up all the way to their own 5 and in some serious trouble now. That is a backwards pass. That's why it is a fumble and a live ball. That's the danger of throwing those screens. I mean, it's a tougher pass than it looks, and if you mess it up, it's a live ball. Another one of them, and you're going to be looking at a safety. The Electrons have spent more time at their own 5 than they've spent at the Eagles' 5. Now it's going to be hard for them to throw the ball deep down the field and line up in shotgun formations and everything. Backed all the way up here, but they're going to do it anyway, and they toss it to Walker. He's got some room down the sideline, and Shippen will slow him down and finally stop him. But he gets out to the 20. So it'll be 4th down now for the Electrons. And they're going to punt it away. Akeem, Boyd, and Harris back for the Eagles. Combination we haven't seen yet this season or ever. So we got 1 tick to go before the end of the 3rd quarter. So this punt will be the last play of the 3rd quarter. There'll be a timeout on the field. And once again, Harris and Boyd go back deep to return the punt. We've seen the Eagles a number of times put 2 men back deep. Normally we see Denolfi, Mayer, some other guys, but now Boyd and Harris. The Electrons finally break the huddle. Ball at their own 20. And already facing 4th down in a punt situation. Then they fake it. They snap it to Walker, and he will get it, it looks like. It's going to be close, but it looks like he got it by a good half yard or a yard. But that's the end of the 3rd quarter, and with just 12 minutes to go in the game, it's the Eagles 33, the Electrons nothing. Eagles defense with a shutout through 3. So we'll switch sides of the field. The Eagles pretty much just at this point celebrating what's about to be a win. I mean, I know they've had some problems before with their defense having a rough patch or whatever in the 2nd half, but I mean, they don't even have to play defense for the rest of the game. I think they'll still win. I'm Mark Holidansky. You're watching NASD TV. Varsity football. It's the Eagles hosting the Benjamin Franklin Electrons and taking it to them, winning 33-0 with a quarter to go. So we have switched sides of the field. The Electrons still with the ball after the successful fake that got up just enough on the punt fake. Harris back to throw, steps up in the pocket. He's going to run it. He's dangerous running, but he hasn't showed it yet today. But here he picks up about a dozen. It'll give the Electrons a fresh set of downs. 1st and 10. Well, the Electrons were never really able to get their ground game started with Marquise Walker, and I mean, without that, their offense isn't much. And that's why the Eagles have been successful today. It's all about run defense. To the outside, 45, and just about 2 yards shy of midfield. Brandon Shippen makes the tackle. And the Eagles just want to see this last 11:04 get off the clock right now. Perhaps take a look at some players that don't normally get playing time, some younger guys, whatever it may be. As they have this one completely in control, 33-0. Nobody in the backfield, 5 wide receivers and a man in motion, and they end up losing 3 yards on that little quarterback draw. A number of Eagles reserves into the game. Preserve your stars, take a look at some younger guys. Kareem Harris back in at quarterback. 4 wide receivers, 1 in the backfield. Goes the short pattern to number 8. And they pick up a first down, it appears, on 3rd down. And they're going to move the chains as he got just enough. 9:41 to go in the game. Eagles about to go to 2-0 before they take on Central Bucks South next week. Ball once again right at midfield. Roby, Hill, Boyd, Denolfi, all on the bench, among others, with this one well in hand. 5 wide receivers once again. Harris drops back. They once again try the short route. And a miscommunication between the quarterback and the receiver. Marcus Harris kind of overran it a little bit, and then they had a man kind of open due to that. But not a good throw, and the sliding catch could not be made. Second and 10 with 9 minutes to go in the game. And then, of course, once the Electrons couldn't get their running game going, they started to develop quite a deficit, and then they were like they are now, just forced to pass the ball nonstop. And that's not a recipe for success, especially at the high school level. Here's Harris dropping back, finally going to throw the ball downfield, bombs it up, and it's intercepted by Brandon Shippen. Brandon Shippen down the sideline, trying to make men miss, and he's brought down by the quarterback. There's a flag on the return. The interception will stand. The return gets him all the way back to the 35, and the first pick thrown by the Electrons. First turnover gained by the Eagles defense. And it's been a completely dominant performance by the Eagles defense at this point. Let's see what the flag is on the return. Then we'll look at the offensive group that comes out for the Eagles, as Roby, Hill, Mayer, both Mayers on the sideline. Brandon Shippen. Frog. So the Eagles will set it up at about the 37 off the Shippen interception. Derek Williams in the backfield. And they hand it to him. He powers it all the way down to about the 48. Looks like he's going to have a first down as well. The Eagles starters just kind of gathering around, looking on. They did their part. They're going to get a win here today because of it. Number 15 at quarterback, and they hand it off to Derek Williams, and there's plays not going to get off, as I guess the Eagles jumped. False start against the Eagles, so they'll back up 5 more yards. And Derek Williams is a guy that they actually used quite a bit last year to go along with Sheldon Mayer. And I mean, he's a nice guy to have on your depth chart in the backfield. We're getting a real good look at him now as the every down back for the remainder of this game. Hand it off to Williams for the 3rd straight time, and he breaks away. Escaped the arm tackle, and he takes it all the way to the house. Williams celebrates, and the Eagles are now winning 39-0, and the rout, if it wasn't already, is now on. Boy. What else could go right for the Eagles? That's the 5th different Eagle to score a touchdown today. We've had Sheldon Mayer with 2, Shannon Mayer with 1, Evan Battaglia, Tracy Presley, and now Derek Williams. Jared Fox going to try to add the extra point. He's missed one and had another one no good on a bad snap that the kick never got off on. Low snap, but good enough, and Fox bangs it through. 7 minutes, 50 seconds to go in the game. 40-0 Eagles. Unbelievable. Well, we hope you'll continue watching football on NASD TV for the remainder of the year, because by the looks of it, looks like it's going to be a great season. Last week's game got a little tense down the stretch, but the Eagles looked dominant at times and did come out with the win, which is the most important thing by far. And, of course, this week just an absolutely dominant performance. Marcus Stewart to kick it off. Again, 7 minutes, 50 seconds to go before the game is over. Short kickoff taken at the 25 by number 21. And a big hit, but he shakes it off and then ends up bringing him down. That's Lawrence Cryer. Getting a big hit on number 21, but he somehow stayed on his feet, but was shaken up enough that Cryer was just able to wrap him up, bring him down, and now he's slow getting up. And I would imagine that's from the initial blow, not from the ultimate takedown. So a lot of reserves in there once again for the Eagles. Brandon Shippen already has an interception. Of course, he's a big part of this team, even their first unit. He comes off the field now even. Ball at the 30 for the Electrons, who are just trying to break up the shutout at this point. And it doesn't look too good. Again, 40-0 Eagles. That's right, 40. They hand it off to Marquise Walker. And he ends up out of bounds after picking up a first. Inside of 7 minutes now goes the clock. And it's 1st and 10. The Electrons not really showing any sense of urgency. I mean, they already know that this game's a lost cause. And they just got to work out some things for next week, perhaps. And it's going to be hard for them to work out all the problems they had today and in 6.5 minutes. I don't think this one could be over soon enough for them either. Back to throw. They go deep over the middle, and outstanding catch, but then a drop by number 86. Marcus Harris was in on the coverage and perhaps knocked it out of there. And number 86 almost made a spectacular catch, but couldn't finish it off. Good play by Harris. Second and 10. The clock's still winding, even on the incompletion, on a mercy roll, if you will, with in terms of the clock. Well, the few fans that were here were treated to an outstanding Eagles performance. Toss to Walker, escapes the tackle. And even against the Eagles' second-team defense, can't find any room at all and loses a yard on that play. There's going to be a penalty assessed against Benjamin Franklin, so that'll back him up even further, it looks like. So they're going to have a good 20 yards to go. And it'll be 2nd and 20. In fact, 2nd and 25, as the penalty assessed was for 15 yards, not 10. 4.5 minutes to go in this game. 4.5 minutes till the Eagles take home their second W of the season in as many games. And this one in convincing fashion, no matter what happens for the rest of this game today. They toss it out to number 21, who stumbles and is met by Adams at the 30-yard line for a short gain. Good open field tackle, though. Once again, touchdowns by Shannon Mayer, 2 by Sheldon Mayer, 1 by Tracy Presley, 1 by Evan Battaglio, and 1 by Derek Williams. And 3 of them were over 50 yards. That would be Batalia's, Williams's, and Tracy Presley's. Here comes the punt. That's a high wobbler. Fair caught at the 45 by Adams. It's James Adams who just made that a hit earlier a moment ago on defense. Now makes the solid fair catch here. Benjamin Franklin. Ball at the 45. The Eagles are just going to try to make this clock read 0-0-0. Cryer in at quarterback at this point. Eagles, of course, with all their stars and starters on the bench. And that handoff gets them about 1. More importantly, keeps the clock moving. 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go. That was James Adams on that last run. Second and 9. Almost inside 2 minutes now. Of course, no 2-minute warning in high school football. The toss to number 35, and he loses about 1. Minute 56 to go. Clock still running. So it'll take about 3 or 4 more snaps before the Eagles can call it official. Fans starting to file out here at Roosevelt. Ball back at the 45. Once again, the Eagles next week will have Central Bucks South. And we'll go with another handoff, and once again, they don't get anything. So 3 runs, 0 yards, 4th down. So they will have to punt it away. And Benjamin Franklin will get to take about 1 or 2 more snaps before they can finally get out of this nightmare. Or are they just going to go for it? Well, I guess just go for it. I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter what they do. They're a minute away from a victory. But 4th and 8, here we go. They hand off to the fullback, and they get like 4. 24 seconds to go, Electrons ball. 40-0 Eagles, about to get the win. Outstanding performance by the Eagles today. Both lines did an outstanding job. Really every area of the team did an outstanding job, and that's what has to happen if you want to see a 40-0 blowout win. Marquise Walker was shut down, the running back of the Electrons. Sheldon Mayer had himself a pretty big day, but it was a shortened one, as was many of the starters, as the huge lead allowed the Eagles to take them out. But from Roosevelt Field, after a very successful 40-0 victory by the Eagles over Benjamin Franklin, I'm Mark Huditsky, and for NASD TV, saying so long.